Hello and welcome to Cookery for Lockdown. So we're doing a 6-week course with 6 different recipes, just using some ingredients that you might find in your cupboard. It's just so you don't have to go out shopping, especially for the ingredients. So there should be simple ingredients you should find in your store cupboard or fridge. Today we're going to be doing some barbecue smoked baked beans. Okay, so we're going to spice up your tin of baked beans, make them a little bit more interesting, and to go with that we'll top it with a fried egg, and we're going to make a little bit of flatbread to go with it. Okay, simple recipe, so it should be easy enough to do. Simple ingredients. I'll go through the equipment that you need, I'll go through the ingredients that you need. There'll also be a recipe posted with this video, so it gives you written directions. This video is just to show you what stages, how I would make it. So feel free to follow the video and use the recipe as well. The recipe is going to include these ingredients. Not a lot of ingredients. Again, trying to keep it nice and simple. Food that you might have in your cupboard. Okay, so obviously we're going to have baked beans. So just a standard tin of baked beans, any brand. I'm going to put some chickpeas in as well. You could use any different beans as well. So if you've got some kidney beans or butter beans, tins of those sort of beans, you can add those in as well. It just gives a different bean and a different texture as well. 1 carrot, just a standard size carrot. A medium size onion. A couple of cloves of garlic. Vegetable stock cube. If you haven't got any vegetable ones, you could use a chicken one or a beef one, so it doesn't really matter. The only reason I'm using vegetable one is because my daughter's vegetarian, so she will eat it with the vegetarian. I've got obviously an egg for your top, so if you want more than 1 egg, you could use 2 eggs or however many eggs you like. Some mixed herbs, just some dried mixed herbs. Some smoked paprika. Now I've got hot smoked paprika. If you don't like things too hot and spicy, I just like a little bit of a kick to them. You can use normal paprika, which I've got here as well. They do all look very similar, but this has just got a little bit more chili in it. Some salt and pepper. And then for the flatbread, just some plain white flour. Some coriander seeds. They just give it a little bit of flavour. You don't need to add them in, you can just have it plain if you want. I like a little bit of flavour in there, and just a bit of water, lukewarm, so it helps mix the dough a little bit easier. Not a lot of ingredients, quite simple. Again, if you don't have any paprika, you could, in your store cupboard, you can use other spices. You can maybe use a bit of curry powder, some garam masala, a bit of chili if you like it a bit hot, some ground coriander, just a mixture of spices. So it's got freedom of expression for you to change the recipe if you need to, but these are the ingredients. I want them quite smoky, so they're like a campfire sort of smoky bean. So they're the ingredients, and now I'll let you know the equipment that you'll need. So equipment wise, again, not a lot of equipment needed. Couple of bowls, one for mixing your dough, one for your wastage, like carrot peelings, that sort of thing. A large frying pan with a egg slice or fish slice, medium sized saucepan just for cooking your beans in, wooden spoon. You'll need a rolling pin to roll your flatbread out, a chef's knife and a small office knife for your vegetable prep, potato peeler, set of scales and a chopping board. So again, not much equipment. Hopefully you should all have this at home and it should be easy to make. And then we're going to use our stove top as well. Okay, so obviously remember your health and safety. Make sure you've got a nice dry cloth around, so when you're touching hot pans, hot spoons, that thing, you're not going to burn yourself. Think of your hygiene as well. Make sure all your equipment is nice and clean. Your work surfaces are nice and clean, and obviously make sure we wash our hands beforehand as well, just for the food hygiene and food safety. Okay, so simple equipment, simple ingredients, and now I'm going to show you how to create the dish. if you want to get your children involved, you can get your children involved in this as well, because I think it's great. I'm going to get my son to help me out here, so he's going to help make it with me, so I can video a little bit more. So that's my son Harry.
Hello.
So he's going to do some of the weighing. This is good to get them learning as well, because it learns them, teaches them about maths, like weights and measures and that sort of thing. So, okay, so Harry is going to measure out 100 grams of plain flour. So make sure you've got your scales on grams and they're turned on. Is it on grams?
Yes.
Okay, so you want 100 grams of flour into your bowl.
That one off.
101's fine. Okay, so if you're a gram or two over, don't worry too much. Also, make sure you press the tare button on your scales after you put your bowl on. Make sure it's set to 0 before you start weighing. Okay, so the flour's in there. We're going to give a few turns of our salt, or about half a teaspoon of salt. So we're going to put some salt in there. Just a couple of turns, please, Harry. Okay. And then we want a good pinch of coriander seeds. So just pour it into your hands. That's it, do. That's okay. Okay, so just show the camera. Okay. So we've got a good pinch of coriander seeds. So I'm just going to show them now. Okay, so all we're going to do with these coriander seeds is just crush them a little bit on our fingers. I'm going to do this with my fingers, Harry, because they're a bit stronger than yours. Okay, so just give them a bit of a crush, and it just helps get the flavour through the flour a little bit more rather than being whole. Okay, so once they're in, just pop them into your flour. Okay, so we're done with the scales now. Okay, so we're now going to add our water. So we're going to add it a little bit at a time. We don't add too much, because if you add too much, you obviously can't take the water out, but you can always add that little tiny bit more. So we're just going to add the water to it, to a nice soft dough. Okay, so if you start, just add a little bit of the water, please, Harry. There we go. Not too much. That's it. A bit more. Okay, so you want about 50 millilitres of water. Okay, now we're going to start to mix that with our fingers. So start mixing it in. Yeah?
With these fingers?
With your fingers, yeah.
I don't want to.
A little bit sticky at the beginning, but it does turn into a nice smooth dough.
Oh no, it's water and flour makes glue.
If it needs a little bit more, to just add a little bit at a time. We don't add too much. Okay. Get a good mix together. Get your fingers in and mix it.
Well, all fingers.
Yeah, go on.
Let me get all the flour in. Oh, it's going like a doughy.
That's it. So it goes like a dough.
It starts off sticky and then it goes to a dough.
It just starts sticky. So how's it feeling? Let's have a feel. So I'm going to give that a good mix. So it's nice. That's it. Give it a good mix in. So just go around getting all the flour off the side of the bowl. It should be nice and soft. Does it feel soft?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so you really need to... Now we're just going to... Daddy will take over for a minute. So you give me them little bits. You wash your hands. Okay? And just try and get as much of that, the ingredients as you can. Okay, so it is quite a soft, sticky dough. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to knead this. So we're going to knead it with the palm of our hand towards the wrist, and just on a clean worktop, just spray with a bit of anti-bac to make sure it's nice and clean. Just use the palm of your hand to stretch the dough and knead it. This just stretches the gluten, and when we come to roll it out later, it just makes it easier to roll. We are going to rest it though beforehand. Okay, so for about 2 or 3 minutes we're going to knead the dough. Now I won't make you watch me for 2 or 3 minutes do this. Just pause the video and then I will show you what it's like when I'm finished. Okay, so just using the palm of the hand, stretch the dough onto the work surface. Now I've been kneading this now for about
2 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes now, yeah. And you can see now the dough is starting to look smooth texture. So it's gone from that sticky and it just smooths off. So all I'm going to do now is just roll it into a ball. So using your hands, just roll it into a ball. And then we're going to pop that into our bowl that we mixed it in. Harry? Okay, just pick it up, pop it in the bowl. Okay, and then we're going to get a tea towel, pop it over the top, and then we're just going to leave that in a warm place just for about half an hour. So I'm just going to leave it in my window. I've got the sun coming through, so it'll be nice and warm, and I'm going to leave that for about half an hour, and it just lets the dough rest, and it will rise a little bit, not too much because there's no yeast in this, so it'll just have a little bit of a rise, and it'll just rest. And so when you come to roll it out for your flatbread, it'll be nice and easy to roll. Okay, give your bench a clean down, and then we're going to the next stage where we're preparing the vegetables for the beans. Okay, so now we're going to prepare the actual beans. Okay, so we're going to start off with the vegetables. We're going to start preparing the carrot. Okay, so we've got quite a nice hard carrot there. We did wash it, yeah. Remember that they do grow in the ground, and they just need a bit of a wash under some cold water. Give them a rinse and a rub just to rub off any extra soil, and then we're going to peel it. Okay, so if we peel it, make sure you've got a bowl. Try and peel into a bowl so you're not getting waste everywhere. Good hygiene practices again, good organisation, and that. So if we peel our carrot, okay, so Harry's going to peel the carrot for us. Again, health and safety, just be careful with your fingers. Remember, peelers are knives as well, and they can be quite sharp, so just be careful. Okay, so give it a good peel, that's it. Are you nearly finished now?
Yep.
Okay, so good peel. That's it. Okay, all done?
Just about a few strips left.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to move our bowl. Don't need your peeler anymore. Okay, and we're going to take the top and the bottom off the carrot with our knives. So remember to use our knife safely. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick demonstration. When we're cutting large vegetables, try and remember to use a suitable size knife. So we're going to use a chef knife. Okay, okay, and we're going to cut with the heel. Okay, so it just makes it easier to put weight on and cut through the carrot. Remember to keep your fingers nice and safe. So nice and straight, so the knife goes down your fingers. Keep your thumb behind your fingers. It just keeps your thumb, don't have it sticking out, because otherwise you're going to chop the end of your thumb off, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so fingers nice and straight, and tip of the knife on the board, and we cut with the heel. Okay, so we're going to take the top off and the bottom. A little bit bruised and damaged on the bottom, so we want to get rid of that, and we're going to cut the top and bottom off. Okay, do you want to do that for me, Harry, or am I going to do it?
I'll try.
Okay, so remember, keep your fingers nice and straight, and use the heel of the knife. That's it. That can go into the waste bowl.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah. Now take the top off. That's it.
Oops.
That's it. Okay. Well done. Right. So I'm going to do the next stage. Okay. So we're going to dice our carrot up into smaller pieces. Okay. So cut it. It's quite a big carrot. So we're going to cut it into more.
Does that mean when you do it really fast?
Well, you could do it really fast, but Daddy's going to do it a bit slower. So we're going to cut it in half, so it's a bit more manageable. So again, using the heel, just cut it in half, and then we're going to cut it, try and find a flattish edge so it's nice and stable, so it's not rolling, and then cut it into strips about 3 or 4 millimeters thick. Just being careful with your fingers, remember. And then we're going to cut it into batons or sticks. So again, similar thickness, and then we're going to dice it. So we're going to cut it into cubes.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice cubes. We don't want them too small because we want to be able to get the texture and get the flavoury carrot in there. So just put them to one side, and then we're going to do the same with these.
I like broccoli.
Cut them into sticks and then across into small dice. So remember to use the heel of the knife. Thank you. So we've got our strip, cut it into sticks and then into dice. And we're going to do that with the rest of our carrot. Okay, so we've got our carrot diced now nearly.
You just need to do that this way.
And then once it's diced, we're going to pop it into a bowl so it's ready for us to cook afterwards. Okay, so just slide your chopping board over the edge of your bench, your worktop, and just gently scoop it into a bowl.
Yeah.
Our carrots are now ready in the bowl, and now we're going to prepare our onion. I will get you doing some other stuff in a minute, Harry. Okay, so again, get your waste bowl, your onion, your small paring knife or office knife, and to trim an onion, we're going to use this knife. So we're going to cut through the top where the stem would grow out of the onion. So don't cut all the way through, leave a little hinge, and then we're going to use the side of the knife and our thumb, and we're going to peel the skin back, and then just use the blade to scrape that away. Try not to use your fingernails because you get the juice of the onion under your fingernails and then it starts to irritate your skin and underneath your thing.
Stings.
It does sting a little bit, yes. And also if you touch your face, but if you do touch your face, obviously wash your hands afterwards. It gets the juices underneath your eyes, closer to your eyes, and that's what makes you cry a little bit more. I'm not going to promise that you're not going to cry at all. Depends how strong the onions are. But if you don't touch your face and you use the knife, it should prevent it a little bit. So just scrape using the blade and then pull using your thumb and your knife.
It could just make your eyes water a bit.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, so we're going to peel this off. So just peel all the dry layers off, and if there's any damaged layers underneath, so just check your onion. This one's quite a nice one.
Perfect. You have to cut that bit off.
Okay, so we want to try and keep a little bit of the root on, so we're just going to nick this dry bit off. So just using your knife carefully, just trim it. So just take that dry part off. So you should still have the root there attached. Now this is essential because when you come in to dice your onion later, it holds all the onions layers together and it stops them from sliding around. Okay, so flat edge of the onion on the board, nice and stable, should stop it from rocking. Heel of the knife, and we're going to cut through the root, so halfway through the root.
Yes.
Using the heel, and then we've got our onion on the board. We're going to use the tip of the knife now, and we're going to make little incisions. Don't cut all the way through.
Oh no, this isn't good. Oh,
Just remember, you watch your fingers.
wait, now it looks like one of them things.
Okay, and then you can see, because I've not cut all the way through, I should have all my layers being held together.
Yeah.
So it helps when you're coming back to go across this when you're dicing. Okay, so now we're going to dice it. So again, heel of the knife, go back across the incisions that you made, and it should keep all the layers together. So we're going to just use as much of that onion as we can. We don't want to waste it. So just trim around your root. and then the root you can pop into your waste bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, using the tip of your knife, make your incisions. Remember not to cut all the way through the length of the onion. So you've got all your layers stuck together.
Why do onions smell so good?
Why do they smell so good?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll try
Nice.
some. Okay, so keep your layers together, and then we're going to go back across the incisions that we made,
That's
and
nice.
we're going to dice.
That's nice, but it's spicy.
It's quite strong.
That's
Okay,
nice.
so again, remember to use as much of that onion as you can. Don't waste it. It gives flavour to our dish. Okay, and then just the root,
Not hot,
discard.
spicy.
And then they can go in the bowl with your carrots. So the garlic, we're just going to peel now. So we're going to use the small knife again and just carefully take the root end off.
I'm back.
And then the skin should fall off.
That was really spicy.
And then we're going to crush this and we're going to make it into a paste. Now you could use a garlic press, crush it. You could use a small fine grater, but I think you get a lot more flavour from the garlic like this. We're going to make it into like a pulp puree. So you get, the more you puree it, the more flavour you're going to get. Okay, so we're going to use the side of the knife, the wall of the knife, and push down and crush the garlic. So we should have it crushed. Then we're going to just roughly chop it into small pieces, and then to help it grind into a paste, we're going to need a little bit more salt. So just a pinch of salt, or if you've got a salt grinder, a couple of turns, and then we're going to use the blade of the knife, and we're going to use our fingers. Now be careful, because sometimes it will slip, but you're going to put your weight of your fingers on, keep the blade nice and flat against the board, and then just a little bit at a time, lift the blade up, pull down and drag. And you're just going to use the salt, helps grind, that's an abrasive, the garlic to a paste. So just do a little bit at a time. If you try doing it all at once, it's going to be too hard to crush down into that paste. So we'll just work your way into the garlic clove, a little bit at a time.
It's gone all mushy.
Just go mushy, so it goes into like a paste or a pulp.
Yeah. How are you going to get it off?
I'll show you. Okay, so you might think
You won't be able to get
that
it
it
off.
disappears and you don't have much there, but all you need to do to get it off the board, once you grind it into a pulp, is put your blade reasonably flat on the board, use the blade side and scrape
That's not.
nice and close,
Let's see what.
and you've got your garlic pulp, okay, on your knife. So carefully put that in with your onions and your carrots. And we're going to use 2 cloves of garlic, so you do the same with the other clove. We're going to cook our beans and our vegetables. So make sure we've got them all to hand. So I've got my opened chickpeas and baked beans there, my bowl of onions and carrots and garlic and spices, and our vegetable stock cube. Okay. So I'm just going to open that up. Ready? So we're going to turn our stove on, not too high, but we want to get our pan nice and hot. Okay, so remember, make sure you've got a dry cloth available, and just get that pan warming up. Okay, so you're going to need a little bit of oil just to start cooking your beans in.
Cooking the beans.
Okay, so the pans should be nice and warm. Just feel it if you can feel the heat coming off above it. So it should start to feel warm. So we're going to pop about half a tablespoon of oil in. Not too much, you don't need a lot.
That is in there.
So just half a teaspoon. And if it's hot, it should spread out straight away. Pop a few bits of onion in and it'll sizzle. So you want that sizzle straight away. So we're going to pop our onions in, our carrots and our spices.
That's good, man. That's good, man.
Okay, so we're going to give that a bit of a stir and just keep stirring it come back a bit.
Is it going to crackle on top?
And if you think it's too hot, just turn your stove down and just stir it gradually. Okay, so we're just going to soften the vegetables. So use your cloth, hold the pan and give it a stir. Okay, so don't look over it, that's it. Keep stirring. So you're going to stir this for a minute or so.
Like this.
Okay, so just a nice gentle stir. And this just keeps the vegetables moving and it stops them burning.
It goes a bit dark as well.
It's just the spices mixing in.
Yeah, that smells nice.
Just give it a stir for a minute or so. And you should see the onions starting to go translucent. So once they start to go translucent,
Yeah, they're going translucent.
yep, you see starting to go, and they're just softening up. Once they soften up, we can add our beans. So just put the beans in.
Yeet them in. What about this?
We're going to put that in a moment.
Oh, the vegetable stock cube. Yeah.
So get all your beans out. Give it a stir. And watch the temperature of your top. It's getting hot. Just turn it down. We don't want it to catch and burn on the bottom. And then once we've got our beans mixed in, we're going to add our chickpeas. Again, if you've used kidney beans, this is the time when you put them in. Plenty of protein in this, a really nice filling, quick lunch. And then just turn your stove down a little bit, just to.
About one.
Then we're going to add our vegetable stock cube.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to add a splash of water from my kettle, just because it's quite thick. Just a little bit, maybe about. You might not need to. It depends how much liquid's in your beans. And then we're just going to let that cook out. So we want the carrots, the onions, just to cook out a little bit. So I quite like this with kidney beans, but I didn't have any kidney beans in my cupboard because you've got another colour. You've got the paleness of your baked beans, you've got a dark kidney bean, you've got the orangey carrot, so it just gives it a nice few different colours. Okay, so I'm going to leave that now for about 15 to 20 minutes just to let it cook out on low heat, just gently simmering. Okay, and that should just soften your carrots and your onions a little bit. Okay, so you can leave that, and then while that's cooking, we can go back to the flatbread. Okay, so we now go back to the flatbread. So it should be nice and soft now, and it should be right. So about half an hour, it should be ready. Okay, so we're going to get our flour again, and we just need a lightly floured surface. So again, make sure it's clean. And I'm going to cut this into two because this meal should do 2 people. Okay, and we don't want too big a piece of flatbread. So nice floured surface. Get your rolling pin. Just give that a little bit of flour on your rolling pin, and then just want the piece of dough into a circular sort of size, and then we're going to roll it out. So not put too much pressure on, just a gentle roll, and every time you roll it, make sure there's flour on it, give it a 90-degree turn. And now this should keep it circular. Just turn it 90 degrees. Remember to use plenty of flour, and should prevent it from sticking. Don't worry if you're a little bit odd shaped. So stuck a little bit there, so I need a little bit more flour. Now if you want, you could turn your rolling pin at a 90-degree-ish turn. Okay, so we've got one piece there, one flatbread. So it's not massive, but it's enough for a lunch. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfectly round. It's just quite nice if it is. Okay, so next piece. You could cook these flatbreads, and they do freeze okay. So nice round shape, plenty of flour, gentle roll, turn it 90 degrees and keep turning it. Well, this one's a little bit rounder. And that's your flatbreads ready to cook, which we're going to do now. So now my pan's nice and hot. You've got a frying pan here for your flatbread. So you want a pan on the stove, get it nice and hot, so when you put your bread in, it's going to cook straight away. No need to put any oil on, because the flour on the bread will stop it from sticking. Okay, so you need it nice and hot again. Just feel with your hand, don't touch the pan obviously, but just feel, see if you can feel the heat coming through. So you want it nice and hot. Don't forget to give your beans a stir as well, so they're not sticking, but they should be simmering along now, just ticking along there. Just going to use our rolling pin just to carry the bread over to the pan, and then just gently pop it in. So you want to try and get it in one piece, not like I just did where it folded over, and then we're going to leave that in there for about a minute and a half each side. In about 30 seconds you should start to see some bubbles forming, so it's showing you it's cooking on that side. Okay, so we'll give that 30 seconds. Okay, so now the bread is just starting to bubble up. You can see, I don't know if you can see, it should start to bubble up. Okay, so we're going to get our fish slice or our egg slice and just check underneath. Just it's been about 30 seconds.
It looks like it's breathing.
And it's starting to colour now. So I'm going to put that back, just let it colour. Be careful because it is hot. I'm going to lift it up slightly for me. Okay, so again, just check. We've got a bit more colour on there now. Still going to leave that a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to flip this over now. Okay, so underneath and gently flip it over. Flip it over. That's it. So you can see we've got a nice little bit of colour on there.
And that's going to start bubbling up.
Okay, so again, we're going to cook the other side now, and it doesn't really take long at all to cook.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so just check. Cooking through, we're getting a few more, bit more colour on there. Just want a little bit more. And there's our bread, pretty much ready. So we're going to pop that on the plate, just let that sit, and then we're going to cook our other piece of bread. Okay, so we're going to cook the egg now. I've done the bread, the beans are almost finished. Now we're going to cook our fried egg on top. So just a little splash of oil in your frying pan. Again, make sure it's nice and hot. Slice to hand, and then we need our egg. Harry, would you mind getting my egg, please?
Egg. Can I crack it?
Okay, so you carefully crack it, let the pan get a little bit hot. So again, just feel the heat of the pan coming through. If it is hot, the oil should also move around quite freely. When it's cold, it's not as free moving around. So once it warms up, it gets looser and it will warm around. Okay, do you want to break it? Okay. So nice and low, as low as you can without burning yourself. So we don't want to break the yolk.
Yep, trying
That's it.
the yolk. I'm not really.
Okay, so don't worry if you get a little bit of shelling, it's fine, we'll get that out.
Let me pick that out.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so, and it quickly starts to turn white.
Okay, so we'll cook. So you want to get that nice
But
and set and make sure it's cooked properly. Okay, now, so my eggs are almost done now, so it's just a little bit wobbly on top of the white. So I'm just going to give it a little bit, but while that's just finishing off, I've got my flatbread on a plate, and we're just going to plate this up ready. So it's on a plate, we're going to get our beans, just a good ladleful or spoonful, just on the top. So we've got our beans on the top there. Now my egg's pretty much done.
Scissors full.
Pop the egg on top of your beans. So we've got our flatbread, our beans and our egg. A little bit of black pepper over the top. If you need to add a little bit of salt, you can, but remember we use salt in the garlic, there's salt in the stock cube, and there's salt in the bread, so I wouldn't put too much salt. And then just to finish it off, I've got some chives that I've grown in my garden. You could use some parsley or any other herbs that you've got, and then that's your lunch. Okay, so you got your flatbread, your spicy barbecue beans, and fried egg. Quick, simple, and delicious. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed that recipe. So again, we're going to be doing 5 more. Please fill in the feedback sheet that I'll be sending you. Give us your opinions. Tell us what went right. If there's any problems that you had, how did you resolve them? So just give a little bit of feedback on how it went making the dish, and then also give us the feedback on how it tasted at the end. And then don't forget to send a bit of a picture so we can see your finished dish. Use some flair and some imagination to present it, and really I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again next week, and I'll get some feedback sent back to you as soon as you send me your form back, and then we'll create a new dish next week. Okay, stay safe and enjoy your meal. Thank you.